Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
And hello and welcome to episode 135 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this show is being brought to you by Earl Thomas. Earl has decided to become a Patreon supporter, and you too can help support the show. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 per month upwards. Your contributions help with our production and hosting costs and are greatly appreciated. And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio, I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
Julian.
Good morning.
Hard night last night, was it? Late night.
Yeah, usually a late night.
What time did you get home?
It'll be sometime after 3 a.m.
Oh, man.
3 a.m. I'm usually out of bed in an hour after that.
Well, I had a very productive evening.
Oh, that's good. Got lots of modelling done.
Yeah. So I managed to clip all the armor type parts off this Gundam kit that I'm building.
Right.
So I've got now that I've got all the inner frame done, I can just concentrate on the armor bits that go on the outside of it.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So its design is very different to, say, the one that Dave did recently, where it's just like, I don't know, like a combination of both, like external, internal, all sort of the same bits kind of thing.
Yep.
Whereas this one, it's got like a clear, like skeletal frame. And I've painted that one all up in. I was thinking actually of bringing it this today, but I got lazy. So I did that all in Metallizer.
Yep.
So what I did is I sprayed the whole thing with UNO black, which is from the GX line of Mr. Color paints.
Yes.
I sprayed that right on the plastic, no primer, and then I hit it with an SMS model, SMS paints, what do you call it? Stainless steel.
Oh, right.
And it came out really nice. It's really shiny.
Yep. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that'll be now. I'm glad it went so well because that's how I think I'll do all kind of Metallizer type stuff from now on.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. So now that I've got all the parts clipped off, I can just because I did buy a whole bunch of those alligator clips on sticks.
Yes. Yeah, they're handy.
Yes.
So handy.
Yes.
I've got I have to have probably 30 or 40 of them, and they're just, they're the best.
I've never used them.
Oh.
Seriously?
No, like I can definitely see the need for them if you're going to build and paint Gundam type models, but unless you wouldn't, I don't see the point for aircraft.
Oh, yeah, they're great for like
Or
holding
tanks.
undercarriage legs and small bits.
Really, see, I've never needed it for that.
I always do.
Well, anyway, so now that I'm on the train,
I have to continually keep scraping the paint off mine because I use them that many times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the kind of thing where you can just like throw it in like a jar of things?
I just get an old blade and just scrape the paint. They're metal, so you just scrape the paint off it.
Yeah, I know, but
It takes a couple of seconds.
There you go. Sorry, I'm just butting in here on your conversation, and apologies because
it's not much of a conversation, so it's all right.
So Ian and I were talking about what we bought recently, and I guess we're sort of jumping ahead by saying that. And I saw some decals came in for some Australian Armour and at B&A, so I went and bought them and ended up buying about 7 sheets of different sort of Australian Armour stuff. And with B&A, if you get above a certain amount, you get to get free shipping.
Yes.
And I thought, I haven't got an Australian Stuart tank, and So I found one and I bought it, and I was just trying to think what the manufacturer was, and it still doesn't tell me.
It's Academy.
It's Academy.
It's Academy.
Yeah, well,
And you probably shouldn't have.
like why?
Because it's Academy.
No, that's all right. It's a good
Do
tank.
you know how many Stewarts there are on the market?
Not that many.
Yeah, surprisingly
Not that many.
many.
Yeah, there's probably about
I think there's
4 or 5.
There's Academy. I think there's the Airfix Boxing of Academy.
Yeah, there's Tamiya
There's Tamiya,
or Tamiya.
and there's AFV Club.
Yeah.
That's
That's
enough.
That's what But
I think Rish Models did one.
Rich, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Don't remember seeing them do one.
Anyway, this version is what we used in the desert, and we also, I think, used them in might have used them in the
New Guinea
New
campaign.
Guinea. So
Is
there you go.
Yeah.
right. Okay. I'm not even going to get into like the Stewart thing because I don't know enough and I don't care.
Oh, jeez. Some enthusiasm. Come on.
No, look, I'm more of the Sherman camp guy. You know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've got to get a Sherman as well because Australia actually had 3 Shermans, which were sent out here to Australia for evaluation, and so I've got to find the right one to build one of them.
I should be able to find that out pretty easily.
Yeah, it's the one with the armour that's slapped on the side that protected the
Wood or
No.
Oh,
that
was it
that
the
patch?
wet armour?
Yeah.
They call it.
I think.
They got the steel plates.
Yeah.
to the side.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yep.
Yep. So I'll have to have a hunt around for one of them eventually. And
W75 or something like that, or
also-
W76.
and also we had Churchill tanks as well, only for evaluation.
Yeah.
So I've got to get a Churchill tank as well. It's never-ending quest to, and then it goes in my stash, and then I think about it one day, I'll build it, and yeah. Because I haven't been in my hobby room for yonks now because work's been just crazy. And I'm hoping that this Sunday I've got nothing on, so I can get in there and finish off that spaceship thingy Bob was building, science fiction thing.
Yes, yeah, I'd like to see that.
that
finished.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
And that way I can clear my decks ready for the 48-hour build, which is coming up.
Yeah, in a few weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all set for that.
I'm still cheating. I'm still doing a 70-second scale.
I'm sticking to the rules. But mind you, I'm doing something very quick and easy though in 48.
Yeah.
Doing the Tamiya 48 scale Komatsu Japanese bulldozer from World War II.
Ah, okay, nice.
All over grey.
Nice.
Easy. Quick and easy, slap together, slap some paint on it. Bit of weathering.
Does it have any decals?
Yeah, probably about 4.
That's more than I thought.
Probably about 4 decals. And it's got some stickers too.
Stickers.
Yeah, like for your mirrors. And I'm pretty sure there's
right.
like the Japanese star is a sticker as well. So it actually
It's embossed.
embossed, yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Mm-hmm.
So no, it's about bar probably a bit of maybe the odd compliance plate or something like that. It's not going to be many decals.
No.
Not many at all. Probably more decals than what I'll be using on the Key 44. Which is now starting. Well, that was a funny story because last weekend, if you're in Australia, especially in Victoria, it was Labor Day long weekend. So
Yeah.
we had a 3-day long weekend, and my plan was to get all the painting done on the Key 44.
Mm-hmm.
I got the metal down, and then I'm sitting there and I'm going, all right, time to do all the fabric surfaces, and searching around. I was like, I don't have that colour, that green-grey colour. And it's a Mr. Colour, so it's not a Mr. Hobby, it's a Mr. Colour.
Right.
So
Yes, that's right, because they're more niche.
yeah, so I had to do a B&A order
Mm-hmm.
to get it, which, as you know, it's a Sunday, and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to get that till sometime next week.
And plus you probably had a beer inside you as well.
I had a few beers inside me, and me being me, it's like, just getting on B&A to buy one pot of paint, and it's like, oh, it's about $5 or $6 for a pot of paint, and then you spend about another $7-8 on postage for it. Nah, free postage is the way to go. So I just bought a couple of more AK learning books. I got the 2 books on metallic colours, which I had a quick look through, and they actually look quite good.
I'll be keen to have a look at that actually.
And then I thought to myself, well, find something from me Pacific War collection, and pick myself up an AFV Club LVT4 Water Buffalo.
Looks very nice.
Landing vehicle tracked. and a set of decals to do one of the American ones they used to ferry the Australian soldiers to Balikpapan.
Yep, that's right.
And a few other pots of paint, and
one of the most useless campaigns that Australia was involved in.
yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Mopping up operations.
Yeah.
Bought a set of decals to do that and a couple more pots of paint. Got to me 150. Went, yep, all good.
So, the paint for your Key 44, which colour is it?
It's a green-grey colour.
Oh, it's that lightish sort of...
Yeah, it's like a very pale version of RLM02.
Right.
So for those listeners who are particularly keen and listen intently, they've just come to the conclusion that I have. You spend $150 to get a pot of paint.
Yeah. Plus all other things.
Jeez.
Well, I decided this time I'm just going to, rather than spend tons of money on kits at the moment, because I'm already, after having the big clean out, I'm already starting to fill everything up again, is I'm going to start buying some more books.
Did you get rid of all your kits that you had for sale?
Not yet.
Right.
They're still sitting in my lounge room cluttering up the place.
So you moved a whole bunch of kits out, sold half of them maybe.
Oh, probably
and
about
the rest
a
of them,
quarter.
Okay, a quarter, and then so you've sat them on in your lounge room,
They're just sitting on the floor in the lounge room.
and you've already filled up the space with new kits.
Pretty close to it, yeah. I can't help myself. It's an addiction.
Wow.
It's an addiction.
Well, it's a nice addiction if you've got to have an addiction. It's one of the better ones to have.
But I'm happy with the way the Key 44 is coming along, with the metal colour now on and the fabric surface is painted. So
Right.
I'm hoping this weekend to get the white paint out, do me big white boxes on the sides and on the wings to put the Hinamaroos on, and a few other me leading edges. And then, that'll probably be enough work for this weekend. And then next weekend I can tackle the black. And then I'll just have 2 decals to use.
Cool.
And that's it, just the kill markings.
Well, you clear your decks ready for the 48-hour build, so get building there.
Yes.
What else? Also, did we say last episode that I'd submitted the Mercury Cup? The build?
Yes, I think you did, yeah.
So they're all locked in now, and out of the 6 podcasts, one of them failed to get it in, I think, which was a shame, TJ, because I was so looking forward, because TJ from Plastic Posse podcast,
he's awesome modeler.
And science fiction dude as well. So I was really, 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 looking forward to seeing what he did, and apparently he just,
probably got sidetracked doing other projects, or who knows? I know. It's a shame you didn't get to see it.
Well, I know, because he would have built a sensational one, so somehow I feel slightly robbed that he didn't sort of build it, because I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
The other ones look fantastic, all the other ones. So
there's some stiff competition.
Oh, yeah, very tough competition. As I said, I'm glad I'm not judging, because, man, it'd be hard to choose between some of them. Some of them
true.
Damn good.
Very true.
And interesting. And they're cool. So that gets announced at Heritage Con. Next weekend after next. It's
something like that.
I can't remember what date we're on. It's the 19th today. So do quick maths. +7, 26. Yeah, next weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
And hopefully we'll be able to, while during the model officers mess 48-hour build, we're hoping to do a cut over to Canada, so we can actually make the announcement, or see it being announced to be successful. So
it sounds like a great idea.
It does. All I know is I'm off the hook now for next year.
Yeah, it's my turn again.
Yes, it is. And look, it's interesting, because I really sort of struggled. I had a different concept that I was originally going to do, and I was going to do something. What originally inspired me to build mine was that Aliens. Where Ripley in Aliens, in the second Aliens movie, she gets into that cargo loader and fights the alien off. I really like the sort of the industrial sort of look to that, and I was trying to sort of go for that. And then I was going to actually have the one I built fighting an alien. And I went so far as to, Julian sort of printed off some nice, what do you call them?
Oh, the masks for the Weyland-Yutani.
Yes, which I actually misplaced.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's in the bottom of the box. And anyway, so I was looking at how I do it, and I was looking at the concept of how I do it, and I even bought an Alien. Trying to buy an Alien that is the right scale to the Gundam is...
It'd be tiny.
Yeah, because the Gundam actually stands about, 3 stories, 4 stories tall?
Mm-hmm.
And so to try and get the scale effect, so I was hunted everywhere for a tiny Alien that would sort of fit in. And I found one that would sort of equal the same size of maybe a Queen or a Queen Alien or something like that. But I thought about it more, and I thought, nah, I just don't want to, nah. It didn't feel like it was going to work, so I sort of went away from it. Mm-hmm. So I just left mine as the industrial sort of one. And so it was heavily chipped, not a lot of huge amount of weathering, and very, 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 very little rust. The rust was only down around the feet where it would actually be on the ground, because these things were mainly sort of space-borne, I guess, weren't they, most of the time?
There are a lot of space battles in Gundam. Yeah.
So, stuff doesn't rust in space.
No.
So
there's no guarantee that it's actually made out of like regular metals, right?
Well, yeah, but that's hence the reason why I kept rust to an absolute minimum and just around the feet, where potentially would have been on Earth and getting a bit rusty down there. So
I reckon wood tones would look great on that thing.
Wood armor.
Just make the whole thing make it look like I'm made out of wood.
That would have been interesting. And the actual way I've got those chips, so I did a base coat of metallics. I think I used Mr. Colour metallics.
Mm-hmm.
You spray them on. So I did that on all of them. Then I did hairspray on top of that. Then I painted the yellow, sprayed the yellow on top of that, which was SMS yellow, school bus yellow, and then which is a lacquer, and then got a toothbrush and water and just scrubbed it off.
Yeah. And
scrubbed it really, really hard, because lacquer goes off.
Oh yeah,
and it really, really sticks.
Mm.
And I was using a lot of elbow grease, a lot of pressure to sort of, really try and get down past the lacquer to the metal underneath. And by doing that, because the toothbrush got so dirty, it imparted a dirty sort of finish to the yellow as well.
Yep.
So it brought out some really interesting chips and stuff. So I think it was quite good. And would I do that again? Yeah, I'll certainly use that technique in something else that I build. But yeah, I think I'm pleased that I built the Gundam, and I'm pleased that it got finished.
That's good. Yeah. So excuse me. Yeah, with myself, because I came to a standstill with the Key 44. I've made a start on that little French Contra Torpilliere boat I got from Chris Meddings.
Oh, the torpedo boat.
Inside the Armour.
Yeah,
it's a lovely little kit.
Yeah, it certainly
is. The
is.
photo etched deck's all folded up and sitting on top of it now. And it looks really nice with the photo etched deck. Just it's like, I really don't want to paint it. It just looks really nice just with the photo etched deck sitting on there.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be a fun little build.
Excellent.
They're working on the winch at the moment. That's very fiddly. All little gears. It's tiny, absolutely tiny. But that's me next project once this one's done.
Good. I'm looking forward to see how that comes out, because you are an excellent ship builder. So
there's better out there, mate.
Ship modeler. No.
But speaking of ships, I got a message during the week that my 3D printed Japanese Jeep carrier has been sent out via UPS.
So is the term Japanese Jeep carrier right? Because the Japanese technically didn't have Jeep carriers, did they?
Well, it's the size of a Jeep carrier. It's a tiny little carrier. It's a light carrier. The Fuju or something I think it's called.
I am so keen to have a look at what it looks like, because the concept of 3D printing a 1/350 scale aircraft carrier, and I've seen the close-up pictures, and the detail looks stunning, but I want to see it in the flesh to sort of get a really good idea. I'm glad you pulled the trigger on it and I didn't. So
one of us had to.
It's very true.
And you see they've now released the Soryu?
I have, yes. Yeah. It's going to be expensive, man.
Yeah, the Soryu is a lot bigger carrier.
Yeah. Oh. Good on them. And I'm glad to see that there is, somebody out there who's brave enough to actually do 3D printing of a full-size ship. So
yeah. There'd be a lot of resin in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. On a long time to print.
That's what I was thinking too, how long it'd take to print. That'd be a huge print job.
Oh, let's wait and see what it looks like when we get it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're
bring on to the show.
Yeah, well, going off what the UPS tracking, I should have it by the end of the month.
Oh, cool. All right.
So, yeah, fingers crossed.
End of the month's not too far away. It's only 11 days.
Yeah, that's right. So,
yeah,
hopefully within the next episode, I'll bring it along. We can have a good look at it.
Excellent. All right, how about we have a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll come back and have a look at some listener mail. So back very shortly. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeller. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeler.com.au. Okay, and we're back with some listener mail. Very thin this fortnight, actually.
Yeah.
So the first one comes from Paul Pendleton Brown, who writes in, "G'day Dave, Ian and Chuckles."
Oh, Chuckles.
Hey, Chuckles. What? Glad my last email in the last episode created a good discussion point reference scale. I knew Julian wouldn't side with Airfix filling a void, but you never know, miracles have been known to happen. Your piece on the effects on our hobby and the way you presented it, in my humble opinion, were both well balanced and reflected the thought that many of us have been struggling with since the unwarranted invasion of Russia.
By Russia,
sorry, of the remainder of Ukraine to marry up the land taken when the Crimea Peninsula was taken all those years back. Your debate reference, when it is acceptable to build a model from a war which is ongoing, is an interesting dichotomy. Technically, the Korean War is still ongoing as peace has never officially been declared.
Very true.
Although the 1950-53 conflict, parties of North Korea and South Korea signed an armistice, the conflict is still technically ongoing, and South Korea declared it in December 2021 that an end to the war has now been agreed to in principle, although still not signed. Is it politically acceptable to build Korean conflict replicas with the above in mind compared to those currently taking part in today's conflicts? My response to an aircraft or tank on a plank would most definitely be yes, though displaying a diorama at present would probably be deemed as poor taste. But anything that happens before the current moment in history, where is an acceptable line to draw in the sand? Keep up the good work. Best wishes from Paul Pendleton Brown.
Yeah. What are you trying to think?
I think we discussed it, fairly well in depth.
But I think probably about myself, I would probably, with the Korean War, well, the stuff from the 1950s and so forth, that was, well, about 60 years ago, if not longer, 70 years ago.
Yeah, but even during the ongoing war in Afghanistan and that there were models being built and coming out, of vehicles and stuff in that environment, and so it's a real tough one. I think it sort of depends. You're going to be able to read the room.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to read the room and sort of make a decision, is this in poor taste or is it too early before you actually start and commit? And there's nothing wrong with you doing it yourself at home, but before perhaps you share what you've done to the wider modelling world.
Yeah, wait for things to calm down a bit.
Yeah, possibly.
Look, a lot of the former conflicts that you could have been building a model while it was going on, a lot of those were situations where the West was intervening in something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not really the same thing as this country is being invaded by that country, and there's a clear good guy, bad guy.
Right. Yep.
Like one's the defendant and the other one's the attacker, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit more. It's
Black
a bit
and
less
white.
grey. It's a bit less grey.
More black and white.
Yeah.
Well, just to go on that point then, Julian, has there ever been a conflict where both sides are wearing a white hat? There's always going to be one side who's got the black hats and one side's a white hat, isn't there?
Depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, like everyone's got their like, oh, this one's more white than that one, kind of a thing. Like I'm more on this side of the conflict than that side of the conflict. But I think everyone's on the Ukraine side. So I think
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
you know, like I'm not sure if you saw, but is it Masterbox have come out with a or have already come out with a figure of Ukraine soldiers throwing up peace signs and things like that.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing, and I'm sure like they'll sell quite a few of those.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would sell many if it was for Russian soldiers, right?
Well, Svezda would, but it'd be sold in Russia exclusively.
Yes, I suppose. But I don't think you'd get the same number of sales, international sales versus domestic sales, right?
Exactly.
But it is nonetheless.
I mean, that's why we're having this conversation to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we're all still struggling with it, I guess, to some point.
because I do recall like someone building a ISIS tank when ISIS was still going on.
Yeah.
And those guys were pretty much the bad guys at the time, but I think at the time you could still sort of get away with it under the idea that you're representing multiple vehicles from all sides of the conflict. But I don't think you could get away with that right now. If our club did a Ukraine war
Theme for the upcoming Model Expo.
I don't think there would be quite a bit of hate towards the Russian subjects, right?
Yeah.
It'd be very controversial.
Yeah, it just feels a little too soon.
Yep.
That I think that's what it
Well,
is.
yes, it is too soon, but that's the thing, right? There have been other cases, other conflicts, and it never felt too soon.
True. That's true. I don't know. I don't have the answer. All I can do is just go by what feels right to me and what doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And that's the only sort of guide I've got.
You let your conscience do the job for you.
Indeed. Next email comes from Brad Belsham, and he writes, I know you guys have done a lot of subjects, but maybe something around the all great garage kit guys who are out there. The conversion makers, ? Bold Division, Stahlheim Models, TDM, just a thought, keep up the great... TMD. Thank you, TMD. Just keep up the great work. And by the way, here's a paper panzer to share with the team from chilly northern Ohio. I've been to Ohio, and it wasn't chilly when I was up there.
It was like a KV2 on steroids, isn't it?
Yes,
It's huge. It's a huge box.
and I've seen this floating around on different Facebook pages, pictures of this
I wonder
as well.
what caliber gun that is.
And it's certainly a great model that is made.
Just
So yeah, it looks like
actually, that's the same as what's on the what are those tracked howitzers they use? The Russians. I remember I built a model of one.
all right. Well, in any case, it kind of looks like a KV2 if you made the turret even bigger.
like 4 times bigger. Yeah.
It's very interesting looking. And it looks great too.
On the topic of garage kits, conversions and things, I've done one, the Sylvia S15. That was a conversion. I'm sure we've all done something in the way of aircraft and things like that. That's quite common.
No, never.
Oh, maybe you not.
No.
Maybe you haven't. Yeah.
No.
Recently, because like when people say garage kits, what I think of
Some guy in his garage with a heap of resin just pumping him out.
Well, see, like I mean, I still don't like. I mean, I'm sure that's the actual situation for a lot of the resin things that come out of Europe, but it still doesn't associate with the term garage kit for me. For me, garage kit is a term used by people who refer to the aftermarket Gundam community.
All right.
Because that's very much a label that's been attached to them.
Right.
And there's like this whole saga that goes along with it. You know, like Bandai own the rights, obviously, to all the Gundam type intellectual property, and so it's kind of illegal to do anything related to Gundams that's not made by them.
Right. Unless you're paying a heck of a lot of royalties.
Yes, but they Bandai allow like a certain number of them to be to have a little sticker that they hand out to be badged and thus sold legally.
Yep.
But recently, obviously, there are people who don't care and blah 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 blah. I recently was going to buy one, and it was going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of money, because like nowadays, because garage kits for Gundams were generally considered like overall are considered like you're like garage would sound like it's made in some guy's garage, probably not very good quality. You know, expect bubbles in the resin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that was back in the 80s.
Yes, but nowadays the resin kits that come out of Taiwan are really high spec.
And what about people?
Really
nowadays
high
also
spec.
with garage kits is now you got everyone with their 3D printers.
Yes, that's interesting, because I mean, like, if you went to all the trouble of designing all that, would you give away the 3D files for free?
No,
Exactly.
you print them out and sell them.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are doing that now.
Just
And
sell
there's,
files,
and there's some great stuff coming out in the 3D printed world. There's some magnificent additions, and I know one guy's bringing out replacement canopies for the Tamiya F4 Phantom. Yeah, because apparently the sprue gates protrudes onto the actual glazing
Of the Tamiya one.
on the Tamiya one. So when you clip it off, you run the risk of putting like those little tiny star fractures
I'll have to have a look.
through the canopy.
So hang on, you can 3D print clear plastic?
Clear resin.
Clear resin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, most. Yeah, I have never seen it done personally, but I'm sure
I can't say I've seen it done.
I think it can be done. I know other people. I know there are conversion and aftermarket manufacturers that will actually do the molding resin in clear resin.
Yep.
That's the thing. So the thing I was considering getting, so it's a Gundam. You have to buy the Gundam kit to convert for the starters, right?
Yeah.
That would have been $100. Funnily enough, that's a $50 kit inside Japan.
Yeah.
But whether I can get it out from Japan for $50 on top is
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. But the resin for it would have been about $400.
Oh, jeez.
I'm still
Wow.
but one friend of mine who I talked to about like all this resin sort of stuff is all this Gundam sort of stuff is he came down with cancer.
Oh.
So he's got financial things to worry about, and it sort of put things into perspective. It's like, really, should I spend $500 on this mold? Should I really? I mean, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. Give it a miss.
Well, I know you look at it from the opposite point of view. Coming down with something like that, it certainly brings into focus and sharpens your view on what you should be enjoying. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time in this world.
That's true.
And it's only one trip. You don't come back.
No.
Despite what? No, God, I'm getting a religious argument. So I'll step away from that landmine. Okay, the next email we've got in is from Dave Waples, and he writes, "Hi Dave, good discussion about modelling products coming out of Ukraine and Russia. Flory Models had planned a Zvezda SIG Special Interest Group build was planned. Phil wanted to keep the politics out of the group, but there was such an overwhelming call to kill it that he made the decision to pull it. It hurt him because he owns a bunch of Zvezda product in his store, but he made the decision to change the special interest group to UN peacekeepers. My personal feeling is that even though it's a pimple on the elephant's butt, a strong message needs to be heard in every corner of Russia that the world condemns this unprovoked action. So I personally won't be buying any Russian products. I have one Zvezda kit on the shelf that I was looking forward to build, but I suspect it will be sitting there for a long time." And that's from Dave Waples. And actually, it's...
Well, that's an interesting point because you've already spent the money on the kit, so you may as well build it. But then you can only build it when you feel comfortable doing it.
Yep. So, like we said before, at the moment, just put it aside.
Yeah. Comes back to the pub test, doesn't it? All right. Well, on the back of that email, I've actually got a public service announcement that I want to play, and it comes from our good friend Chris Medding. So I'll just go straight into it. I think might be the easiest way.
Hi everyone, this is Chris from Inside the Armour Publications. Like many of you, I've been watching the news over the past few days and have been appalled by the suffering and hardship inflicted on the people of Ukraine as they attempt to flee the war in their country. I decided to reach out to other companies and modellers in the hobby and to see if we couldn't do something to support the charities that are helping these people. The results of this is the book Models for Ukraine. The book features only models manufactured by Ukrainian manufacturers, as built by modellers from all over the world, who have gladly and freely given their time and work to support this charity effort. The full profits of the book will go directly to humanitarian aid. Our printer have given us an incredible discount at less than cost, and all of those involved have given their work for free. The only thing that will be deducted from the price of the book is the transaction fees and a small cost of printing. Everything else will go directly to humanitarian charities to support people in Ukraine. If you'd like more information, please go to www.insidethearmour.com. It will be sold there and in other sources as I talk to them and make arrangements for them to sell the book as well. Please do buy the book, or alternatively, please do find a charity such as Red Cross, Disasters Emergency Committee or others to do what you can to support women, children and civilians fleeing this awful war. Thank you.
So it's pretty powerful.
Very.
Very. Look, kudos to Chris for taking this up and actually doing this. And I got to say that I know Chris is under not a tremendous strain, but he's been absolutely flat chat. Then to get this out on top of all his other sort of personal sort of and business work that he's doing to knock this out so fast, he's been burning the candle at both ends to do this.
Oh, definitely.
And I think it's a fantastic initiative that applies to our hobby that we can, do something about and contribute to at the same time. And, all I can say is bravo. I think it's a very good initiative.
Yeah,
and I,
definitely.
for one, will certainly be going and placing an order.
Yeah, I'll get one as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've had a few. Excuse me. I had a look at a few of the photos, and yeah, it definitely looks like a really nice publication.
It does,
and going for a well deserved cause.
Yep. So well done, Chris. Hats off to you. Really good job, mate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a public service announcement over. How about we have a very short break, and then we'll come back and hear from what the Falcon has got in regards to some new kits. Back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. Okay, let's see what the Falcon has to say. And he writes in, hi, Dave, Ian and Julian. Let's begin with a bit of general modelling news. Sylvester have announced that they will be increasing the prices of their kits. It's looking like 20% across the board.
Wow.
That's a huge jump.
That's a massive jump.
Yeah. Russian modellers are indignant.
Oh, so they should be.
How, they ask, especially this time, can a Russian company, who so prominently displayed the Russian Federation flag in their promotional material, be so unpatriotic? If Russian modellers get so upset about a price rise, imagine what they would be like if someone was rocketing their cities, says the Falcon. Wow. Aircraft news. Great Wall Hobby have said that their 148 scale kit of the Sukhoi Su-30 SM Flanker H is now ready for release. KP Models are about to release 3 boxings of the XAZ model Brigette 14. The kits are 1/72nd scale. The re-release of the AZ kits are usually updated a bit, and normally they replace the vac form canopies with injection plastic, and that might be the same here. The 3 boxings are the Brigette 14 A2 International, the A2 France, and the Brigette 14 B2 France. No information yet on what markings are provided in the international kit. At least one will be Czech, as the box art shows Czech markings. KP are also about to release a 72nd scale kit of the Havilland DH9A. Some say this injected plastic kit is possibly inspired by the CMR resin kit. 4 boxings have been mentioned: the DH9A at War, the DH9A RAF, the DHA9 Silver Wings, and the Polikarpov, thank you, R1 with Soviet markings, presumably. You may remember that Clear Prop announced a 72nd scale de Havilland DH9A Polikarpov R1 a few weeks ago. However, with the situation now, who knows when we might see that one released. Cora Models have a new boxing of their 72nd scale Fairy Seal. Fairy Seal. Fairy Latvian Seal in Latvian and Soviet service. I don't know what a Fairy Seal is. Have you guys ever heard of a Fairy Seal before?
It sounds something like from the 1920s, the Fairy Seal.
Do you think it is?
If it's from Fairy, then it's going to be some weird-looking British thing.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
The biplane.
Very long nose.
It is.
No engine cowlings. Interesting looking aircraft.
Interesting one way to say it. Armour Hobby have teased about a week ago that they'll be releasing a completely new 72nd scale kit in a few weeks' time. They gave us a couple of clues: cherry blossoms and a picture of Mount Fuji. So you would think it is Japanese. Didn't stop people in the forums guessing things like a P-47, P-40, or even B-29.
I can see the B-29 connection.
But not the P-40s.
However, the announcement has now been made.
Yes.
The new kit will be a 72nd scale Nakajima KI-84.
Key 84.
Key 84.
Yes. Hayate.
Allied code name Frank.
Fun fact, the B-29s did not drop the bomb on Mount Fuji.
No.
All the connection people are drawing between like the teaser of cherry blossoms and a picture of Mount Fuji.
Oh, okay.
It's like, Mount Fuji. Maybe it's because they dropped the bomb on Mount Fuji. No.
Drop bomb on Mount Fuji. Jeez. Okay. Where am I up to? Copper State Models, your favourite company.
Yeah, I like Copper State.
They have shown CAD render of the cockpit area of their 32nd scale Bristol Scout. Quality is everything we have come to expect from a CSM product. They are showing themselves to be very worthy successors to Wingnut Wings. Oh, they're big words.
They are, but they're very nice kits.
CSM are not setting any dates or making any promises, but we might see the Scout released in 2022. Work on the 32nd scale Hansa Brandenburg D1 is continuing. CSM aren't in a hurry to release this one, as it will be a very expensive tool. The molds will cost double that of their recent Cauldron G3, and Copper State Models say it will take 10 years of sales to pay them off.
Wow.
That can't be worth it, really.
Oh, well. Yeah, they must have done the figures to make sure that it was right, but geez. Academy have released their 2022 catalogue. We already know about the 48 scale new toolings of the Zero, the F4F and the A10, but I did notice that there are some 1/144th scale new tooling of a B52H. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, Dave scale.
Yeah. I've got a couple. I've got a B52 in 1/144th. I think it's the G. It might have been the H. Anyway, Kinetic have announced they will be releasing a completely new 48 scale kit of their Gold series in August/September 2022. They claim this new release will incorporate new technologies not yet used in plastic modelling. That's good news. Fingers crossed the new technology will result in a Kinetic kit that actually fits Meow. No clues were given on the regarding what the subject is. So I did see that announced on Facebook, and my interest was piqued when they actually said, and they used their words, new technology that's never been used before in modelling. So I don't know what the heck that means.
Oh, maybe they just use a big cauldron.
That's called rotational moulding. That wouldn't be any good. So, yeah. Oh, well, we'll just have to wait and see what it is. I mean, look, Kinetic put out some really interesting kits, and kits that aren't done by other manufacturers. So I really want to see them succeed. I really do, because they do put out some interesting subjects.
Yeah, fill some niches that aren't filled.
Oh, 100%.
I know one of our friends has built quite a few of their kits because he's into F-16s, and the fit on those kits is something to scare me off. That's for sure.
Well, let's hope that they get this right then.
Yep.
Yeah.
With whatever it is they're building.
Sure.
What the hell is this news? Meg Models have announced a brand new kit of the
Evangelion.
Thank you. Evangelion Unit 01, which is a multi-purpose humanoid defensive weapon, artificial human Evangelion Unit 01. The model would be 47 centimetres tall, with pre-painted sprues and hidden ejection gates. There was talk that Meng were getting out of Armour models, but this is what they are going to be giving us instead. The Falcon isn't happy about what's going on.
I can shed some light on this.
Please do.
So there's a TV series that came out in the sort of...
it was weird.
In the 90s called Neon Genesis Evangelion. And it was quite a big commercial success, even though they ran out of budget clearly like halfway through the TV series, and the rest of it was basically like a slideshow.
Oh, you mean like the old 1960s Marvel cartoons where the Hulk would just move across the screen?
And they basically admitted that they did such a poor job of it because they released a few movies afterwards that retreaded the last few episodes to do it. Anyway, basically they got these gigantic robots, and later on you find out that they're like gigantic clones of humans.
Yeah, it's I remember in the 90s when it came out, I did watch part of it, and it just got really weird. Even my taste,
it's got some interesting sort of sci-fi elements to it, and
well, I've just brought him up on I just googled what Evangelion Unit 01
big
looks
purple
like.
robot.
It looks like a Gundam robot that has been on a weight loss diet. Very slim.
It's quite a gangly looking robot. But later on you find out that it's not actually a robot, it's actually a gigantic human made of flesh and covered in armor.
Yep.
And it's become as a franchise, it's become quite popular, and there have been models made by Bandai.
Yes, that's right.
But 47 centimeters tall is a very big model kit.
Well, from a business point of view, to sort of get into that market that Bandai has dominated so well over the last 30 years, and given that the money is in modelling is actually in that area, not in what we do, it makes business sense, doesn't it, to sort of
it does,
dip your toe into that.
Yeah, I mean, this is merchandising. And merchandising is always going to, you can come up with another series next year in the same franchise, or another movie. I mean, look at The Mandalorian, just keep coming out with more and more series, and then all you have to do is make models of them.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's already fresh in people's mind. I mean, how many regular people have World War II fresh in their mind?
Yeah, and Obi-Wan Kenobi series is about to kick off soon on Disney.
Yes, there'll be stuff coming out for that as well.
Stuff coming out for that, absolutely, 100%. But, I mean, the Gundam segment of the market dwarfs what we do by, a factor of 4, if not even more.
Yep.
So, I from a marketing point of view, I can fully understand why Meng are doing it.
And this would be a big win, because they've essentially won the rights to make a model kit of this over Bandai.
But I do have to agree with the Falcon. I'm get a bit of a tear in my eye, because Meng I've built a couple of their tanks, and they make good kits.
No.
And it'll be a shame to see them sort of, go away.
Step away from that, yeah.
I hope they still continue to do military subjects. But
I don't think they will. Word on the street is
like Hassie
that they're getting out of it.
Really?
Yeah. It might mean they go to aircraft, and it might mean they go to ships and things like that.
But they're
cars,
getting out of armour.
Maybe cars, because they've got a Jeep
GT40.
Jeep Rubicon, and they've got the GT40. So they're getting some car things going on as well. But apparently they're getting out of tanks.
Okay. All right. Well,
you can see, but there's a lot of other companies out there that do armour kits as well.
Yeah. So, plenty of room.
Yeah, heaps of room.
Military vehicles.
Oshima.
Thank you. We'll be releasing a 172nd scale 3.5 ton truck, the SKW 476, with outdoor cooker number 1, which is a 1 ton water tank trailer. AV Club have shown built-up test shots of the 35th scale International 7400 medium truck. Interestingly, the cabin shell and doors were moulded in clear plastic. Not sure if that's why in the actual kit, if it'll be that way in the actual kit release, but if so, it'll be a neat solution to the awkward windscreen bodywork join. That's a good point. Italeri have announced a 35th scale M109A2/A3G self-propelled howitzer. Not surprisingly, it's a re-release. Come on, Italeri, start with some new stuff. The kit comes with new decals, 6 marking options, and 2 types of gluable rubber band trucks. Ugh, yuck. T136 Chevron and a NATO type track, and you also get a full colour instructions. Talk on the forums that surgery may be required to do some of the subtypes. Copper State models have shown early CAD renders of their latest 35th scale World War I armoured car project. It's a 1917 Erdhardt German armoured car. Looks really interesting. Another one for Ian to add to his collection.
Heck yeah.
They're going to bankrupt you, you know that.
No, they won't, because they release them in enough time that you can save your money anyway.
Yeah,
you just save up your money and just buy one.
On to naval stuff. Trumpeter have announced a couple of new naval subjects, a 1/350 scale German World War II auxiliary aircraft carrier, the never completed Deutsche Kriegsmarine Weser.
I'm really impressed that you nailed that.
Thank you.
As far as I know, anyway.
Thank you. In 1/700 scale, there will be a kit of the British Type 32 frigate.
23.
Type 23 frigates, the HMS Monmouth, which I've actually built in 1/350 scale.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, it's a nice kit. Academy's catalogue contained news of 1/700 scale kit of the USS Yorktown CV5 aircraft carrier. It's not a new tooling. Academy released the Yorktown's sister, the USS Enterprise, in 2017, but according to the catalogue, the Yorktown kit will contain new parts. The Yorktown and the Enterprise were completely different ships, weren't they? They weren't the same.
I'm trying to remember. I think they were different ships.
I'm pretty sure they were.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I will too.
I should know.
I should know as well, yeah. We both should know. The Falcon is not interested in figure kits, but I did see Masterbox have announced a new figure series, the Russian-Ukraine War. First kit will be the Ukrainian soldier defense of Kyiv in March 2022. The kit is 1/24th scale, but a 1/35th version is said to follow. Masterbox are saying that work continues as normal and they won't let the Russian attack stop them.
Good on them.
Dave, you've already mentioned this or may not want to talk about it. Models all over the world have been concerned for the safety of people involved in Ukraine's vibrant modelling industry, and sadly our fears have been realised. A couple of days ago we got the tragic news that the artist and illustrator Valery Grinyenko, responsible for Rodin's model box art, was killed in front of his home in Irpin in Ukraine on the 4th of March by a Russian attack. Another innocent victim of a senseless war. Condolences to his friends, family and colleagues. That's from the Falcon, and we actually echo and share those sentiments as well.
Yes. God did some amazing box art. Some of those Rodin box covers were just so action-packed and so well illustrated.
Well, they're very much in the sort of vein of the old airfix, guns and explosions and things, but at least they were a bit more realistic.
And all the vehicles are off the ground.
Mm-hmm. All the land vehicles, they're like airborne.
Airborne, yeah.
I really like the Mohawk boxing where it's got like sort of jungles of Vietnam, and then you got like a monkey on a tree in the sort of foreground.
Yeah, with a little ruined temple.
Yeah. And it really sort of invokes like a kid's imagination of the Vietnam conflict.
Oh, I like
before
the one I liked was one of the German trucks, and it's airborne with a P-40 coming in behind it. And just in the Western Desert, just looks absolutely great.
At least his memory will live on through his art.
Yes, very true.
All right, let's move on to what we're actually our main subject for today, and it is cockpits.
Yes.
We've never really sort of spoken in detail about cockpits, and I thought, because something actually came across our desk the other day, it's a new book from Inside Armour Publications, and it's called Perfect Pits, Making the Most of Your Scale Aircraft Cockpits.
Thank you very much, Chris Meddings.
And this is a lovely little book. It's got models from Tom Ans. Gee, did I pronounce that right?
Annies,
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Chris Meddings, Will Patterson, and Jerome Veen. And it is one of the most gorgeous little books. And if you're an aircraft builder, this is a must-have. And you need to have this on your shelf. And it's a fantastic reference.
It's a nice, neat little tiny book.
And packed solid with information.
Absolutely.
Hints and tips.
So, being inspired by this actually arriving, and the fact that we've talked about building aircraft before, we've never really gone into detail about cockpits. And look, cockpits are one of those things that it's almost a model in itself.
I think I think for an aircraft, it's probably one of the most important parts of an aircraft kit.
It's a thing that you generally have to start with at the beginning because you can't progress on unless you get it done and finished. Unlike ordnance or anything like that, you have to do it first.
Yep.
And also for me, it has to be the most intimidating part of doing an aircraft.
Why intimidating?
I don't know. I find it very difficult to sort of get the. It almost stalls me from starting an aircraft.
Oh, really?
Having to do the cockpit.
Myself, I find it probably the most enjoyable part of an aircraft kit.
Do you really?
Yep. Love doing interiors.
And the flip side of it is that we put so much time and detail into it, and unless you've perhaps got the canopy open,
you're going to see not much.
You're not going to see much.
Well, I got the same. As you know, I've been working on the Key 44, little Shoki, and I put a full Edouard detail set through that, all the levers and switches and so forth, and just as the cockpit sat by itself, it was just chockers full of detail. I closed the fuselage halves up, and you've actually got to really, really look hard to see all the work that's been put in. But I know it's there. I know how detailed it is inside, and I'm happy with it.
What would you ever do if one day someone like me, who's a stirrer, came along and said, I don't believe there's anything in there. You know what? I can't see anything, so it's probably not there. You're probably blowing smoke up my ass.
Well, normally, I didn't do it this time, but normally I take photos, but for some reason I've got to take photos of the cockpit.
No, you wouldn't be able to prove it even.
No, you'd be able to see most of it.
Would you, though?
Yeah. With a little torch, shine a torch in there, you'll be able to see it.
You know what, actually, when you buy those Edouard photo etch sets, they'll give you like the little replacement pedals with the little leather straps.
Yep, that's all on there, yep.
I've decided I'm never going to put those in ever again.
Because you don't see them.
You can't see any. You can't see the
unless you're doing something like an Arado 234, where it's just the glass nose.
Oh, yeah, that's got the most visible cockpit
or a Heinkel 111.
I mean...
where you can see it.
Yeah. There's a few out there where you can see it, but there's a lot of them where you can't.
Yeah. I find the most difficult is when you're doing like a bomber and like you detail the heck out of the interior and like all the way back into the fuselage with the gun positions and so forth there. And as soon as you put the fuselage halves together, you don't see anything. It's gone. Especially B-17s and Mitchells and B25s are renowned.
You see
for that.
When this always comes up, and you know that you can't be seen, people will defend their actions by saying, "Oh, I'll know it's there," right?
Yep.
That's not the answer they should be giving. They should be saying, "Well, I had fun making it."
Oh yeah,
that's why we do it, because it's fun.
Yeah, well,
100%.
Well, I have the fun in doing it. To me, it's fun 100%. Doing it. Doing the interiors is a lot of fun for me.
So the interior, and when I say the interior, I mean also the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the part of the kit, unless you're opening up different sections and panel doors and that. But it is the part of the aircraft where you're given the most freedom by the model itself to go to town and detail the heck out of it.
Yep.
Because the rest of it's just painting, isn't it? Really on the aircraft.
Yeah, the rest
apart
is
from maybe the undercarriage, but the rest of it's just sort of painting and weathering effects and all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
It's the actual cockpit where I guess that you as a modeler, you're sort of putting your stake in the ground, aren't you? When you're actually building and detailing it.
Oh, definitely.
And the levels that you can go to detail it are just absolutely out of this world. So basically, a kit these days. Well, a kit generally used to come with a bare-bone seat. You maybe got a joystick. You got a basic instrument panel with some decals that you put across to make it, and that was it.
If you were lucky.
I
remember the old Airfix 72nd scale kits that came in the bag. I think it was the P51B.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't even think it came with an instrument panel, but I do know that a pilot was on a stick that you stuck to the side of the fuselage, and that was it.
It was a representation of a pilot, wasn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't even a seat for. I think unless the seat was moulded into the back of him, but it was just basically just on a pin that you stuck to the side of the fuselage.
Yeah,
on the inside.
Yeah,
and that was the interior. Because I remember as a youngster getting into when. As we all grew up with the Airfix and Revell kits and how sparse the interiors were. And then this newcomer came along from Japan, Hasegawa, and they actually they came with decals for the instrument panel and seats, and occasionally a little box you could glue to the inside of the fuselage to represent like a fuse box or something.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge deal for us.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but nowadays, sky's the limit what you can do. Like personally, I refuse to finish a cockpit unless it's got seat belts in it. That's my bugbear.
Yeah,
it has to have your seat has to have seat belts.
See, while I wouldn't necessarily go as far as that, right? I do think they should be in there. But if it doesn't have any in there, and there are no aftermarket options, I'm not going to bend myself out of shape. I'll just be like, well, you know what? If it doesn't have seat belts,
close the canopy.
Close the canopy, and I may not even try. I may not even bother with the instrument panel.
Wasn't there this modeler out a few years ago who all he did was paint the inside of his canopy glazings black?
There is a guy who has done that.
Yeah,
I don't know if he does it all the time.
Doesn't even have to bother about his interior. He just paints it black. Does a nice job on the rest of the kit, but you can't see it.
That makes sense. I mean, if you look at those, they're not kits; they're models you can buy. And they're made of wood, and to represent the glass, it's all painted black usually.
Mm-hmm. Well, think about this, Dave. A lot of your ships have just the windows painted like a grey colour.
Yeah, I get a
or
lead,
blue.
I get a pencil lead, and I'll colour it all in because that's true. But then in 1/350 scale, it's like my 1/144 scale aircraft, that Japanese float plane that I built. I think they just did black inside, and that was it. Because you can't see at that scale.
That small, you won't see it. No.
Yeah. But I'm coming back, and this is why this publication from the book Perfect Pits has really sort of got my interest peaked. The amount of detail that you can go to and put into it, and you don't necessarily even have to go so far as to do it all yourself. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff that is now available that you can just build and slot right in there, and you're getting a cockpit that is sensational.
Yeah.
And let's think about Quinta, for example, now.
Mm-hmm.
Quinta, I don't know, there's a second name of them. They do 3D
instrument panels.
Instrument panels and stuff.
Yeah. And
that stuff is just superb. So you get the kit cockpit, and if there's any raised details, you just shave it back to bare plastic.
Yep.
And you just drop these things into them, and bada bing, bada boom, you've got a perfect representation, almost, of a cockpit.
Yeah.
And some people might say, oh, but that's cheating. It's not really modelling. Well, it's the same as putting a decal on, isn't it? Exactly the same sort of thing.
Yeah, technically, you're right there, yeah.
I don't adhere to any particular rules with that.
I don't either. I think it's silly to turn around and say those sorts of rules or anything like that as well. Anything that sort of, can bring extra detail, and if it cuts down on time, and...
Yeah, well, speaking of cutting back, like, a lot of people use photo etch seatbelts.
Yeah.
I can get away with it. I think it's Ultracast do 48 scale aircraft seats in resin, but with the seatbelts moulded in.
Yeah.
And that is such a time saver.
Yeah, they also tend to look a bit more
natural, yeah.
Rather than the...
Because photo etch seatbelts, you can either go the old style where they're unpainted, which I would prefer to use, or you go the pre-painted ones, which as soon as you start to bend, the paint flakes off and it looks garbage. Because to do it properly, you need to anneal the photo etch. So you get it nice and flimsy, and so you can get those nice compact curves around their seat edge and so forth. But you can't do that with pre-painted. So best thing, if you're going to do that, scratch all the pre-paint off it, anneal it, and then repaint it before you glue it in place. Or paint it while it's glued in, after it's glued in place.
Also, the printing tends to be a bit grainy.
Yes. Yes, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
There's so many aftermarket companies that are producing resin add-in bits, or
now 3D printed.
Now 3D printed as well is coming into the market now in a big way. The additions that you can put into your cockpit is just changing what you're actually going to get from your bare kit that you originally purchased.
Oh.
And I guess it comes down also to how far you actually want to go as a modeller and how keen you are in sort of, doing a full representation. The things that I think would be more challenging is the modern aircraft stuff against the World War II or World War One, because there's so many dials and paints. And
you got your computer screens and
not just that, you've also got the cables and all that sort of stuff that's going in there, the wiring cables and all that. And, and again, I just can't keep referring back to this book, Perfect Pits, because the four that are in there, the clever thing about this book is it's got a modern one, aircraft, it's got a aircraft from World War One, it's got aircraft from World War Two, and so you got your whole sort of range there, right through from 3D printing through to
scratch building with
styrene, through to purchasing aftermarket stuff and putting it in there. It's just it stuns me the level that you can go to, and then hence you ask the question, well, how could you be intimidated when you sort of look at that stuff? You go, oh wow,
it's inspiring.
It is inspiring indeed. 100%.
It makes me want to step up and go that next.
So
challenge myself to go that next level.
So here's the thing, and I'll ask both of you: what makes or breaks a cockpit when you're first looking at a model kit? I mean, one that's finished, that's sitting on the display table. What makes it, and what breaks it?
Seatbelts.
Yeah.
So the first thing you notice is seatbelts.
Okay.
And the thing what I find also with seatbelts is that automatically to the regular Joe out there, as soon as they see seatbelts, it gives them a great idea of the actual size of the thing they're looking at.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
It gives you an idea of the scale.
Yep.
Because you look at a seat, it's just a box thing. Mm. Whereas if you've got seatbelts in there, everyone's got a car or has been in a car, so they know how big a seat is. And it really, to me, it really brings it home.
Brings the scale home.
Yeah.
So are you a proponent of PE seatbelts, or you like to make your own using
tape?
Yeah.
As I said earlier, if I can get away with it, I will use Ultracast seats with the moulded in seatbelts. Otherwise, I'll use PE. And with the PE, I used to, but now I used to just fold them and have to repaint it. But nowadays, I'll just scrape the paint off them and anneal them and then get them to flow better before I paint them.
All right, so
and I used to paint them before I glued them on. Now I glue them on and then paint the whole seat and then paint the seat belts.
So when we're talking about annealing, what that is, that's a process of you get the
get heat underneath it, underneath the photo etch.
Usually a lighter or a
usually
a candle.
Blowtorch. I got a little blowtorch.
Yeah, blowtorch.
Just get it cherry red, and then just let it sit. And what it does, it softens the brass up. And that way you get
easier to shape.
Easier to shape, less chance of it folding and kinking. Because that's the thing. I remember, I don't know if they still do, but Dragon used to come out with the worst photo etch. It was a stainless steel photo etch.
No, to me, I used to do stainless steel photo etch.
And it is the worst thing for trying to get seatbelts to mould around something, or you had to bet. I remember the Dragon with their Focke-Wulf 190s. You got behind the seat, you've got this bar with like these two angled bits that folded down, so your aerial wire could come through and wrap around and then go back to the back base of the cockpit.
Yep.
And to fold and the worst thing was it had this little slit running through it, so your aerial wire could go through the slit. And you had these little tabs you had to bend. And you could never do it without actually bending the whole thing in half because it had the slit. It was basically just forget about it, make it out of styrene. It was just the worst thing to try and deal with. But with brass, it's a lot better. You can, as I said, stuff like you just anneal it, and then it makes it soft and pliable. You can bend it.
I never built that kit, but I was given by an uncle that kit that he'd partially built or whatever, and then used as a paint mule. And
I've built about 10 of them.
Yeah, so I know that stainless steel photo which you're talking about, and it really is the most indestructible, uncooperative metal I've ever seen.
Oh, it's shocking, isn't it? It's just shocking.
Yeah, I mean, like, it almost looks like it's made for dental use or something.
Yeah, it's not made for a modeler.
Oh, gosh.
Like, if you can imagine, like, something that's very thin and metal and, like, a foil, but, it's like, bendy. Like, you could bend it right all the way around 360 onto itself, and it would just spring back. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was horrible stuff to work with. And that was, and being in a cockpit that was right on the rear canopy, so you could see it straight away. As soon as you look at the thing, you can see this.
Well, back on the seatbelt thing.
Yeah.
So I think tape seatbelts are acceptable, almost mandatory in 70-second scale.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't get anything better, at least put some tape strips down to resemble seatbelts. But after that, once you get to 48 scale, I think you need buckles.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing also that makes and breaks a cockpit for me is the instrument panel.
Yeah.
No, I never see it.
Oh, no, you can. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I only see it if I go looking for it, but I'll never see it if I'm just casually looking at the model.
Oh, right.
Whereas I can see seatbelts from... I'll just lean over with my arms behind my back at a model show and I can see seatbelts.
Here's an interesting one. The Key 44, the photo etch that I got from Edward is so old. Like, with the Edward, nowadays you got the two-part instrument panels where one part's printed and you just glue the front fascia to it. So, and then what you do is just put a dab of clear to simulate the lenses.
Yep.
Before then, they used to have the clear acetate.
Right.
They used to paint the back of it white.
Yes.
And then glue that to the back of the instrument panel. Yep. This one's paper.
Oh, okay.
So it predates. Mind you, it come up nice. The only thing being paper, it took a lot of clear before it actually... Because at first I put the drops of clear in there to simulate the lenses, and it just sucked into the paper straight away. And it took ages, just continually just putting little drops of clear until it finally got...
All right, so you're talking about sort of representing the dials of the instrument. So and you're saying you're putting clear in there. What clear are you doing? Clear what?
Clear acrylic paint.
Thank you. Okay.
What else would I be using?
Well, I'm just for the listeners out there, so they can. And what's your preferred one that you use?
Oh, I'd just go with Guns.
Yep.
It doesn't matter as long as it looks glossy.
As long as it's glossy, as long as it.
And you apply it with a paintbrush, or how do you apply it to sort of build it up? Do you build it up slowly?
The bigger ones you do with the paintbrush.
Yep.
And the smaller ones you can use like a little toothpick.
Yep.
Just shape a toothpick and just put a drop in there. And the good thing is with the actual the dials being recessed from the instrument fascias, it just holds it in place. Unless it's paper, and I said it just soaks in to build up a layer that it can sit on top of.
So I have some additional thoughts on seatbelts. I recall Doogs, Matt McDougall from Doogs Models. He couldn't find seatbelts in 30-second scale for a project he was working on, and he ended up cutting $1 bill.
All right,
because it's made out of fabric and it's very fine grained fabric at that. I always thought that was a cool solution.
Yeah, definitely.
And then while I was thinking about that, I thought about the CR42 Falco, which I made, but ICM brought it out in 30-second scale.
Right.
And I was thinking, how do you do that?
Because those Italian seatbelts are really weird, aren't they?
Yeah, they got chains.
Yeah, they got chains on them, yeah.
Like, the only other place you come across chains usually is on armor kits and on ships.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be intimidating as a pilot? You walk up the aircraft and there's getting chains into you.
What's next? They're going to weld me in place.
like, yeah, you get strapped in and then some guy comes along with a padlock and locks you.
You ain't leaving this. Yeah, you fly to you die.
But there was never a company that actually did fabric seatbelts. They were fabric. HGW.
I've got a few sets.
They've got a lot of attention to them.
What are they like?
I haven't used them, but I have seen them used, and they look really nice.
Because they're pre-painted and everything, so you don't have to worry about that.
I think it's a paper or a material, but
it's a very fine fabric of sorts, but it's
because I've got a set for me Hellcat, me big Hellcat, and I've got a set for me Black Widow.
Yep.
The problem is, like, when you actually start trying to be creative with the way the seatbelts are at rest, they're not printed on the back.
Yeah.
So you're on your own.
Yeah. Okay.
And apparently what I've heard too is because you got to thread the actual belts through all the buckles.
See, man, that puts me off.
And what I was told, and I actually think it's a great idea, is you actually leave the buckles on the photo etch sprue. Then you thread it through.
Yes.
Then you cut the buckle off and file it back.
Yeah, I did all that.
Get rid of the otherwise, if you're trying to do it, if you take the buckle off the thread,
you'll break it or lose it.
Oh, you just will never get it in place properly because it's so small and fiddly. And also, you got a material you're trying to that's flimsy already, trying to thread that through. You'll be there. You'll end up.
Come on, man! Look, I'm not threading a buckle through anything at that scale. Even maybe if it was.
So having done it, because I did it for the helicopter thing for the Missouri Cup. When you thread those things through, what often happens is you have to thread it through once, and then do a 180, and then thread it through again.
Yep.
What?
Because that's how buckles work.
Yeah, I know, but geez, that's going to the extreme.
And then also, like, in some of those cases, you've actually got two different belts that go through the one hole.
Yeah.
And with buckles, seat belts, as you know, the old kind where you pull them tight. You've got say for the shoulder strap, you've got it goes from the shoulder to halfway point.
Yep.
That's one piece. So you got to thread it through the buckle and then glue it to the back of itself. Then you've got the other part, the part that actually tensions. Right? And that's like a loop that comes through and then...
I'm just going back to my original statement. Cockpits intimidate me. Ask me why.
Yeah, but look, these kind of thread the buckle and fabric seatbelts.
Yeah,
I would only ever do it in 30-second scale.
Yeah, okay.
And even then, it's neurotic to me.
Yeah,
but the look afterwards is worth it.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, I mean, that
I have tried once upon a time to do it in 48 scale, and I gave up.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, I've got
ridiculous.
I've got 2 sets to do for me Black Widow. Or is it 3 sets? I'm trying to remember how many seats are in a Black Widow. 3, I think.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, 3 sets.
I haven't flown one.
I don't know if you know that's an enormous amount of work.
Yeah, I know.
That's like 100 threads, threading it through, right?
Oh, you should see the amount of aftermarket I got for that kit too. It's the HGW kit.
It's too much.
Full Edward interior, front and rear. All the oxygen bottles.
So I guess with cockpits, it's the same as anything that we always say. Always check your reference photos, and
Yeah.
That's fun, isn't it?
But the good thing is, there's a lot of websites out there that do have some amazing cockpit photos where people have gotten in with a high resolution digital camera. They put like a black curtain over the outside of the cockpit, and they just photograph the inside. I know.
And it's all those 360 views too.
Yeah,
so
one of my favourites is, I can't remember which website. It's an American website, and they've got the Marauder. And it's 360 through the whole interior of the Marauder from front to rear. And it is... And the good thing is you can expand the picture and go right up close to a certain point and actually see like the little writing that's next to the flare gun on the back cockpit wall and stuff like that. And it's just... Without these websites, you'd never know that was in there.
Yeah, you know what always irritates me when I'm looking for references for a cockpit? It's when they've got like a slightly different variant to the one that you've got. So they'll have like a radio there, but it's not quite the radio that you've got.
That you want, yes.
And you're like, well, that's the radio that I need. That's the part that I need right there, and you don't have it.
Or it's some obscure aircraft where half the parts are missing.
Or it's a Japanese aircraft and there's no existing photos.
Good luck. Yeah.
Well, that one then is, you just do whatever you want. Who's going to prove me wrong?
Well, that's often what the kit manufacturers had to do.
Yeah.
Like I forgot, is it the diner? The diner, yeah. I went to do that one. And the rear cockpit, because it's got a rear cockpit.
Yeah, for the observer.
Yeah. So I did the one with the upward firing gun.
Oh, yeah, the night fighter, was it?
So there's good photos. They're pretty good photos of the regular version, but not of the one with the upward firing gun. So the gun itself just looks like a box with a stick coming out of it. With some sort of extra little boxes attached to it to make it look like a thing. But
besides that, you wouldn't have a clue.
No, of course not.
I know years ago, there was a book out on Japanese interiors, cockpit interiors, but I think trying to get your hands on it was nearly impossible. Plus, you'd be looking well over, $200 probably for a copy if you could find one.
That's the trouble I had with the what was it called? The seaplane, biplane one that I did, Japanese plane.
Oh, the Pete.
The Pete.
Yes. The F1M.
Yeah. And it had like the drawings in there of what the cockpit layout looks like and roughly what the colour of most things are. I had to refer to that, and I had to refer to video games.
Oh, video games, yes. Well, one kid I really want to hook into this year as well is me Dave.
Thanks.
Me Japanese float plane. Me Japanese float plane.
It's going to improve me Dave.
And that's got a fictitious cockpit.
Well, it's got a beautifully detailed cockpit. So I'm hoping there's some good reference out there.
There's none.
There is reference out there. I'm hoping.
There's none.
There isn't. You've looked, have you?
I know. I've taken it from an authority.
There is none.
There is none. And like the general thought is that whatever cockpit is in there is completely fictitious.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise. But the thing is, it comes with two really nice crew members in good poses.
Yeah, you know why? Because
so you can hide most of the. Which I'm actually considering. I might actually do the figures in that one. Because I even bought the Edward set for it. So the Edward sets, that's probably all guesswork as well.
So so for those listening, the Dave is a Japanese seaplane biplane.
Yep.
And it's really old. Like it's really, really early war.
Yeah.
If not,
I think the decal sets I got
pre-war,
isn't it?
1936. Yeah, it's really old. Like it looks old.
Yeah, one was for the battleship Karishma, and I can't remember what the other one was for. But it's such an interesting looking aeroplane.
Well, that's because not a single part of it has been designed to look aerodynamic.
Yeah, and it's got that nice green and brown and that chocolatey brown camouflage and the little cutout around the Hinamaru, so you actually got the bottom surface colour as a surround for the Hinamaru. Just it's going to look quite nice.
With canopies, do you paint the inside of the canopy as well as the outside?
Depending what scale. 1/32 scale and larger, yes. Otherwise, what I tend to do is I paint the inside colour first on the outside of the aircraft. and then paint the outside colour over the top of that. So you do have that colour differentiation. And then what I usually do is paint the interior colour on the edges that you see. So like from your front glazing, where you got where the front and the back glazing touch together, I paint those.
See, I do something similar, but there's primer in between the two. So I'll do the cockpit colour on the outside of the canopy, then I'll do a primer, and then I'll do the exterior colour, because otherwise the frames don't match the rest of the plane.
No, that's right.
Because I've primed the plane. If I don't put primer in there on the canopy,
so I remember years ago, someone, I can't remember who it was, but I was speaking to someone and they had an absolute disaster with their canopies. They used one of the Edward sets, what they did is they made the bad mistake of using that cockpit masking set on the inside as well.
Yeah, it's not scaled.
It doesn't work because the inside's a lot smaller than the outside. So, and it just looked wrong. Everything was just, you had like ghost frames on the middle of it.
It looks like almost like double glazing or something.
Yeah. It just looked absolutely rotten.
So you can get aftermarket cockpits. No. The stuff, the canopy masks, and it'll come with not only to do the outside but also to do the inside as well nowadays.
If you get the T-face, what they call Edward called the T-face.
Yep.
And that does the inside as well, which is a lot smaller. But as I said, 48 scale. Look, unless you really die hard, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's really the sign of the try-hard, isn't it?
It's going to the ultimate extreme. Yes, you might notice a bit of a difference, but with most like fighters and so forth, you're not going to notice it at all.
But the issue is, with particularly with the modern jets, because there's so much stuff that's sort of put into the canopy now, like, you know, when the canopy get raised up.
Yeah, they've got like all those mirrors and things.
And they've got ribbing and all that and strengthening stuff in there. You're forced to almost sort of do that now.
Well, if that's the case, then you've got to bite the bullet and do it, don't you?
Yeah, but at least it's only around the edges. It's not as bad.
True.
Like with World War II stuff, you've got like the whole bird cage thing and trying to do inside and outside.
Well, you've got the deck cord on some of the modern fighters as well.
Yeah.
And that's designed to explode so that when you punch out in the bang seat, you don't sort of bump your head against the canopy.
Was that like the yellow or the white trim they have on the inside?
It's generally like a black. It looks like a black.
Oh,
sort of
yeah. On the top, on the very top of the canopy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, isn't it white on some, like the Harrier?
Some it's white, some it's black. It just depends on, again, check your references.
And they usually give you a decal for that, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes they give you a decal.
Yeah.
And then you got I've always been weird about putting decals on.
Yeah,
bare clear plastic.
Yeah, I remember doing the Dragon TA-152H1, the high altitude Focke-Wulf, and that's got the 3 little clear decals you've got to put on each side of the bubble canopy, and you've got to be so careful. You've got to really trim as close as you can, otherwise you've got the carrier film that sticks out.
The carrier film would be a real ball breaker, wouldn't it?
And it's
I reckon the
just doesn't look as good as you hope.
I reckon the way to do it is to
make a mask and just put some flat clear circles. 3 flat clear circles.
Any kind of time you need to put decals on a clear window of any sort, I think the way to go about it is you want to do it on the inside, right? So that the outside glossiness of the plastic remains uniformal.
Well, but with the TAs, they were like plugs.
Okay. Well,
so they were like, I think they were decompression or compression or something, so that they could pop out. So you didn't, explode all over the inside of the interior or black out or something. And so they were from a slightly different material. So thus, my idea was make some tiny masks. You get out your little circle cutter and make some tiny, and then just paint them into either a semi-gloss or a flat.
Well, I mean, I was talking more like things like sponsorships on race car windows.
Oh,
on the sides, they'll have like a little flag and the guy's name, the 2 drivers' names.
Yep.
Or they'll have the little banner that runs across the top of the windscreen.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
I would rather do from the inside so I don't have to gloss it afterwards.
Right.
And I'll do it and I'll put it on because often like the decals are not designed to go on the opposite side.
Correct. Yeah. So I was thinking. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll get the Mr. Mark setter, which is like almost like a bit of a gluey sort of thing for trying to get decals to go down better. Because what I got is there was I forget who it was. There was a modeler who his surefire way to eliminate all silvering is he'll put down the Mr. Mark setter in like a pool of it. Like so, if it's on the vertical stab of a plane, he'll turn the plane 90 degrees.
Yep.
So that it's nicely horizontal, the surface that he's putting it on. Then he'll put this Mr. Mark setter on, and then he'll just sit his decal on top.
And hope it doesn't move.
And as it all evaporates, and as it evaporates off, it just brings this thing down.
Yeah, but I was thinking if it's sitting on a puddle, if you get like a slight breeze or something comes through the room, and the decal can shift on top of the puddle.
Yeah, that was always my concern. So I'm not sure how he worried about that, and then how high it sticks off. In any case, a bit less to worry about with Windows, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And you can get it to stick on there, and it won't come off as long as you're trying not, as long as you're not, and trying to intentionally disturb it, right?
Yes.
So I always thought when it came to ever doing one of those Harrier canopies with the
deck cord on it,
yeah, that thing. Oh, that's how I would do it. My only concern would be, it's a very curvatured canopy.
Yep.
And you're trying to get a flat thing to conform to that.
Yep.
So I would want to cut out the inside of it as well to some degree.
So myself, I'd just mask and paint it.
How could you mask and paint that, man?
That'd be really difficult because you got to maintain perfect width all the way around.
Yeah. Just be very careful with your masking. I've done some very tight masking before. Like
it's a really zigzaggy shape.
Just got to do your masking in small sections, small triangles, small rectangles.
Wow.
I've done it before.
Yeah. I'd be impressed to see you do that. I really would.
I'd rather do two sets of fabric seat belts than that.
Well, maybe I'm just a bit of a masochist.
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Other thing also with cockpits too nowadays is weathering them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Because cockpits can get pretty grubby.
Oh, especially with pilots jumping in and out all the time.
Exactly.
World War II ones, getting your seats all dinged up and chipped, and the floor where his feet go,
all the dirt he's tracked through.
But even in modern aircraft, I mean, there's and this is where dry brushing comes in so well, because you've got hands over the life of the aircraft is probably 6,000 hours, 10,000 maybe if it's super lucky, but generally 6,000 hours of an aircraft's life.
Unless it's a Hercules, then it's like 1 million hours.
Or a B-52.
Yeah.
You get all these pilots jumping in and they're sort of knocking things with the helmet, and so the instrument panel's going to be scuffed and dirty, especially where the dials and all that sort of stuff are.
Yep. Yeah, a bit of chipping and distressing of the paintwork.
On the dashboard, like you'd have on your car, but in your cockpit, that's going to attract dirt. You're going to get all sorts of dirt and muck sitting there.
Yeah, scratches. And
100%.
Definitely. And that adds to it.
Oh, yeah.
That adds to it. I know you love your stuff clean.
I do.
But myself, I like a dirty bird. Thus I am.
You have to know Australian slang to understand that.
No, I think that's pretty universal. Thus, I tend to, grubby up my cockpits a little bit.
God.
What about the use of wire? I've seen a lot of people do the copper wire, or wound around something to do the coiled headphone.
Yeah, for modern stuff. That's the thing. I don't do that much modern stuff, so I really don't have much use for it. I have used
lead wire for going between all the radio stuff and things like that.
I have done that. Look, sometimes I can get a bit lazy and just go, it looks pretty good. But it also comes down to, as we discussed pretty much early on in this segment, is what you can see.
Yeah.
Well, there are parts that, yes, I do go a little bit overboard, like as you said with the me rudder pedals, make sure me rudder pedals look pretty cool and so forth. But there's certain sections where if you're physically not going to see it, like wiring and that, I'm not going to bother with.
Yeah, you know what always cracks me up? When people do a Spitfire and they're like, oh, I'm going to drill out all the little holes in the fuselage spar type things, you know, each of the, you know how they're like hoops.
Yeah.
And they got all the little like holes in them for lightning.
Yeah, lightning holes.
So they'll drill out all those if they're not already holes, but they won't make the actual material any thinner.
Thinner, yeah.
So from above, you can't really see those holes.
No, that's right. Very true. Very, very true. But I've drilled out holes. I got the Key 44. I drilled out all the holes in the seat and thinned the seat out, so it looks a lot more. Doesn't look like a big chunk of plastic anymore.
Is it supposed to have one of those cushion type things going on in it?
Apparently they all do, but no one puts the cushions in.
Dog.
And it doesn't make them look as cool. I like it when you can see the holes in the seat. Dog. And you got and behind the seat you got this rope pulley, so you can adjust the seat height. So I've got my little painted me little rope in there with the little pulleys.
I'm not going to shush on that. You should be doing a cushion. There's in fact, I'm pretty sure I saw like a photo in this Perfect Pits book where someone did exactly that.
Put a cushion in.
Yeah, they just molded one out of like epoxy putty or something.
Milliput.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Well, just referring back to the Perfect Pits, and so in this book, 4 modelers show you 4 different ways to get the most from your cockpits in 1/72 scale, 1/48 scale, and in 30-second scale, either using paints, scratch building, or aftermarket in 3D. It's a fantastic book.
Inside the Armour publications.
Inside the Armour publications. 3 scales, 4 methods, 5 different cockpits. And the aircraft they actually look at is the DH2, the Tornado, the KI-48 Lily, the KI-36 Ida, and the P-40M, which is the one that a good friend Will Patterson did.
Which is one of the most greatest interiors I've ever seen. The guy's a master.
Now, this is what I don't understand about Will Patterson, and it's I can say this because I actually messaged him about it. So the guy is an engineer, and you know, engineers and those sorts of people use a certain part of his brain.
Yep.
Like, you know, the right hand side. I don't know, the non-artistic side of your brain.
Yep.
So that's where Will's comfortable in doing all that. But applying his engineering techniques and methodologies, he ends up with this artistic representation.
Yep.
And I'm not saying artistic in that it's unrealistic. The artistic representation that, you know, you'd expect an artist to do.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So I'd love to hook the dude up to one of those brain scan machines while he's actually sitting at his bench doing a model just to see which part of his brain lights up. It would be fascinating if you...
Right. So you would hook his brain up to this fictional thing.
It's not a fictional thing. It's a real thing. It's a real machine. They do it. They stick you in these machines and they give you different tasks and they can see which part of your brain lights up.
Yeah, well, you know what? The reading would just come back and say, you suck, Dave.
Not me. I don't want to hook me up. I want to hook Will up to see what the hell's going on.
It would say you'd have to build at least a couple of aircraft, Dave. It's the one genre that you probably build the least, right?
It's because it's cockpits scare the hell out of me. They do. But now,
but then again, you build 1 to 144 scale, so why bother?
Well, that's probably why I built one for that scale. Well, I built for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's space saving, and number 2, I don't have to muck around with cockpits.
Number 3, when was the last time you built one?
Yeah, it's been a while now.
The Emily, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Emily was the last one I built.
Flying boat.
I've got a couple. I've got a B-47 that's sitting there half built.
And you purchased a P-47. To me, a P-47 recently.
Yeah, I did.
That was a shock to the system, seeing Dave walk into the P-47 Thunderbolt.
It's a Tamiya kit too. So
yeah, I know. The first thing I thought of was, Dave, why'd you buy this kit that you're not going to build?
Yeah.
Well, I had to make up... again, B&O, they suck you in. No
one was there. I wasn't there.
No, you weren't there for a change. You weren't there for a change, but I was ordering some stuff online, and it comes up, you only need an extra such and such to get your free shipping. And I came across the P-47 and I went, oh, that looks good. Click. I got my free shipping that way.
I'm still waiting for the HGW 32 scale P40B. Great Wall Hobby, isn't it? I think. Yeah, Great
Wall Hobby.
Yeah,
Great Wall Hobby, yeah.
P40B. So that should be hit. Because I know some of the stores in Australia do have it, so it can't be too far away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited about that one. That's going to have a really nice cockpit too.
It is. All right, gents, I think we'll wrap that up there. Thanks to Chris Meddings for his wonderful publication, Perfect Pits. Go to Inside Armour Publications to get your hands on that. If you build aircraft, this is something that you definitely need, and you're going to love and refer back to it often.
Yeah, you'll probably need to buy 2. Because guaranteed halfway through your reading, while you're working, you're going to spill paint on it.
Of course, if you want to reach out to us, you can. Our email is onthebench64@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page, so drop in and say g'day there. Also, there are a range of other fantastic modelling podcasts for your listening enjoyment. So simply go to modellingpodcast.com and that'll give you a whole listing of all the other fantastic shows that are out there. I think that's about it. Heritage Con's on weekend after next, so good luck to all you guys heading out there.
And anyone in Melbourne this Sunday is it the Southern Models Swap and Sell?
Southern Models Swap and Sell on Sunday, yes.
Box Hill,
correct.
Is it Box Hill Library or Box Hill Community Centre? Check it out on Facebook or or Google it. That's usually a pretty decent sized event. So if you want to spend some money and get some cheap kits, you're worth popping your head in there.
Absolutely. And on a personal note, good luck to the other Moosearoo Cup contenders.
Yes.
We should know the results in a fortnight.
Yes. We'll be able to handball.
Will the Cup stay in Australia or not?
Who knows? Who knows? But I know that I'm up next year, so hopefully something different to a Gundam for a change.
Gundam. All right. Ian.
All right. Enjoy your modelling.
Good.
I'm going to go home now.
All right, and it's goodbye from me. We'll see you in a fortnight. In the meantime, have a great modelling fortnight. Adios.